Okay, first it was the male loneliness crisis. This was just a male entitlement crisis, honestly. And now they're obsessed with men's health crisis. Y'all, look at this. Like, this is NPR. NPR's doing this. Like, men die younger than women. Is it time for a focus on men's health? No! No! It's time for men to grow the fork up. That's what they need to do. This, again, all comes down to patriarchal conditioning and male entitlement and the way men are taught to not care for themselves. And definitely not care for us, and definitely not care for their own children, and absolutely not caring for their parents when they get sick, or literally anybody. But they won't even go to that is not about their health. Their health, like what? Okay, let me calm down. All of our problems could be solved if we dealt with the root of the problem, with patriarchy, white supremacy culture, hypercapitalism, ableism, like all the isms, because that's what this is about. This is nothing to, let's focus on men's health, as if all the money and all the focus hasn't already been there, but they don't care. In this system, they hate themselves so much and feel so entitled at the same time to the world that they refuse to take care of themselves. And they are not taught to do that because we are taught to take care of them. So why would they do it if they always have a woman to do it for them? So let me back up a little bit. If you're new here, I'm Melanie Hamlet. I'm a journalist, a storyteller, all kinds of stuff. Please follow my Patreon. That's where I do lives. That's where I do watch parties. I have one on Sunday for Fresh Kills the movie. I'm also doing a book club over there where we are reading this book, King Kong Theory by Virginie Despentes. French, badass feminist. I can't believe I haven't read this yet. This is in English. And Patreon is what's paying all my bills. The algorithms do nothing for me anymore. So thank you, Patreon people. This message is being brought to you thanks to Patreon. And I have a free tier. If you can't afford a tier, I have a free tier so you can at least catch up with my work and make sure that you stay connected. Anyway, this all started yesterday on Thread when I saw one of my mutuals post this and respond so well, as she always does. That darn chat, if you're not following her, please do. I'm gonna get to her response and some others in a minute, but I wanna first go through this article. Not word for word because it made me wanna barf. Like, this man, Derek, who is a professor of health equity and which population you focus on, Derek? Sounds like you're already misguided. He'd like to see far more attention paid to men's health. The problem, Derek, I can just tell you right now, is that men don't pay attention to their own health. That's the problem. Wait. Check. Done. You can send all the doctors, the scientists, the researchers, you can send a whole army over there to help men with their health, but if they don't care, none of it matters. And the problem is they don't care because we care too much. In fact, we care so much about men's health, women die on a regular basis caring too much about men's health. I'm done. Y'all know I've written articles, try to help men. But at the end of the day, I'm tired of women dying trying to help men. Y'all got to help yourself. Just like an addict who, you can't force an addict to stop doing their thing. You can't force men to let go of power and let go of self-hatred and let go of subjugating unless they have consequences. And see, the only alternative to that is dying. Yeah, let's withhold our care from men so they die. Since they're so stubborn. Like, I'm not talking about children. I'm saying all these men who literally abuse women who care for them and literally take years off of their life. Both my grandmas died before my grandfathers. One of them literally hated her so much, kept her hostage, would not let her get a divorce, and celebrated and danced and sang at her funeral. Free at last. King of the mountain now. So I don't care about men's health because men don't care about men's health. But I do care about parents raising their boys to care about men's health and men encouraging men to care about their health. But I'm tired of caring so much. He's like, yeah, I know that women's health has been understudied, blah, because we haven't invested in it. I'm saying, the only thing we haven't studied with men's health is biology and genetics. No, I don't know. There seems to be like 5 million articles about men's mental health and the loneliness crisis and all these things that are affecting men, but none of them address the real problem unless they're written by women or men who have been doing the work, is that it's a mindset of entitlement and feeling superior. And learned helplessness from patriarchy that just gives them this stuff and so much labor from women. Now, I'm sorry, I wrote on top of this. I was so mad I couldn't help it. On the other hand, Griffith says, we know very little about how the economy, stress, and other factors affect men's health. God! Well, I can tell you right now, they take it out on their wives and children. How about that? Boom! You don't need to do all that research. I'm making gross generalizations here, but this article is so it is the audacity to put this out in this moment when women can't even get abortions in the United States and many places because of this administration, and it's only getting worse. And this man has the audacity to do. Oh, we need to worry about men's health. How's it all this stress impacting men? I mean, it's not a zero-sum game. We can promote women's equality, equity, blah, 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 while actually focusing on the health and well-being of men. Yeah, I know, but you don't care about any of that stuff. That's the problem. So no more resources need to go to that. Me and lots of women have been writing articles for major publications telling y'all what the problem is. Mine even went viral. So what are you missing? Derek! He is also like, well, I've been studying Black and Latino men and this long, racism, medical racism, systemic racism. These factors all should be taken into account and studied. But at the end of the day, Black women are the most impacted by the medical system and medical racism and the personal racism of all the people in the medical system and the, like, why do you care so much about men? All right, you're a man. Sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I wrote all this because I was so mad. If men struggle with their health, their well-being, and so forth, he says, that tends to put not just a burden on those men, but on the women in their lives. Wow, brilliant. Bravo, man. Why are you getting an interview? And the women have to pick up the economic and emotional slack. And you know what else? They get beaten. They die of autoimmune diseases. They die way earlier than these men. And then also they caretake these men, which also takes years off of their life. Like, I'm sorry, I want men to be healthy because when men are all messed up in the head, physically and any other way, women always pay the price. But like, can you stop avoiding the real problem? Care. They are not taught how to care about themselves and other people in like a healthy way. And so everyone else in the world, their daughters, their mothers, their sisters, the wives, girlfriends, friends that are women, the strangers will literally donate to these men. I know so many women who have given so much money to men they don't even know and will help men out because we just feel so bad for these poor little baby boys. They can't take care of themselves. And those women would never do the same thing for women in that same situation. We got to change that. Take one example. Men are known to eat less healthy than women. I worked craft services and catering. I worked craft services in the film industry, and I worked for some techno festivals randomly and did catering. And the way these men would come up and grab donuts and food that's probably not the best for them for working a 16-hour hard day. And they say, don't tell my wife. Ha ha ha. Wife is at home doing all this stuff to try to make this man take care of himself because she loves him, doesn't want him to get sick, and also, hopefully, doesn't want to have to take care of him as well, because that's what, again, we get so screwed when y'all don't take care of yourselves, right? And these men have the audacity to come to my table and cheat on, you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna just eating all this crap all day. Don't tell my wife. I was like, I wish I had her number. I wish I could tell her that you're lying, that you're full of crap and you're actively harming yourself. And again, I understand who is not self-destructive, who isn't self-hating, who, like, I have been self-destructive so much. But you know what? You know who is never, up until recently when not recently, years ago when I got married, no man has ever taken care of me when I'm not doing well. It's women. I either take care of myself or it's women. Luckily, I married a man who is actually way more nurturing and caretaking than me. So when he's sick, I'm like, what do I do? I gotta do something, right? I gotta try to help this guy. When I'm sick, he's like, what do you need? What do you need? Oh my God, are you okay? La 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 la. Most men like divorce their wives when they get sick. Most men are like, or they have like a fake sickness to compete with their wives when they're sick. So then Derek says some observers get judgy about this, saying if men won't do the right thing, they have to accept the responsibility for the consequences. I guess I'm that judgy bitch. Look what he said. Look what he says here, y'all. But that misses a lot of, we tend to assume from a public health and medical standpoint that people wake up and their goal is to be healthy. But that's typically not why we wake up. His research has shown that men are focused on their work and their family. Who are you talking to? What? Men are just so concerned about their families that they're not eating well. God, this is as if women just don't care about the family, I guess. They don't care about work. They're definitely not working because we know taking care of children is not work. And whatever stupid job women are doing out in the world, that's not really work. Men just can't be bothered to eat well because they care so much about their family. What? God, they don't even care about their families. That's the problem. If they actually cared so much about their families, they would take care of themselves. The escapism, the self-hatred, and the dehumanization of everybody, including themselves, is what patriarchy taught them, right? And the entitlement to the free labor of women, especially, to clean up their mess, even when they get injured, when they do any, that's why I talk about their hobbies. They go, I want to be a climber. I'm going to go climb. I'm going to do all this stuff. And then they get a concussion or, are paralyzed forever. And then, oh well, at least I got a wife who's going to take care of me forever. But if the same thing happened to her, he would leave her. They are not thinking about their family so much they can't eat well. Shut up, Derek! Nope. Food is a means to an end, especially for less affluent men. Okay, yeah, I get it. For people in poverty especially, but people who do not have a lot of money, it is a means to, I get it. But take men out of this equation. He says men tell him the goal is to get back to work, to contribute to my household. And if that meal is going to make me full enough, then I'm going to eat that. See, I am telling you, as somebody who worked with mostly men, right? In the outdoor industry, in the film industry, all my coworkers were men and I had to feed them. You will never convince me that they are just, this is weaponized incompetence right here. Those men knew they were not eating well. They even had wives who were trying to teach them how to take care of themselves and eat well. And they would still come to those sets and be like, don't tell my wife, as they mow down 3 donuts for breakfast. And smoke too, and probably drink. I'm not saying that women don't deal with any of those issues. I am telling you that when men have those issues, it is women who are expected to take care. Even single men, they don't move in with their mom. They find some woman to take care of them usually. He adds that food can also counter feelings of stress because women are definitely not stressed. Let's blame their health crisis on them being stressed. Even though us trying to survive these men, and literally being in a home with men is the most dangerous thing a woman can do, is being married or living with men as daughters, as sisters, as wives, and even as mothers, as the what is it, matricide is the word? These losers who move in with mama and then her. I'm sorry you're stressed and that's why you can't eat well. Shut up, Derek. For everyone's sake. See, this man is doing what Scott Galloway does. Scott Galloway's got some good points about economies. Whenever he talks about boys and men, he needs to shut his face. Because this is what he says. Oh, men are not doing so well. Women need to marry them. Men are da-da-da-da-da, so women need to marry them. This is what he's doing with this thing here. For everyone everyone's sake, there should be more emphasis nationally on the many factors that affect men's physical and mental health and what we can do to improve those outcomes. No, everybody, the whole nation needs to focus on men because they won't take care of themselves. Shut up, Derek. Shut up. I'm sorry, Scott, Derek. You're both saying the same thing. Take us out of it. Take us out of it. You help men. The nation doesn't need to focus on men. That's literally why women die, is because we can't stop focusing on men. Even men who hate our guts, we will stay with. I literally stayed with a man who tried to me and all like, what is he going to do without me? What is he going to do? Is he going to be okay? I'm calling out people. Check. Is he alive? That man wanted me dead. And I cared too much. It's codependency, it's a sickness, it's a cycle of violence, it's trauma, it's a lot of stuff. But part of that is patriarchal conditioning. We care way more about men and their survival than our own, when they are the biggest threat to our survival. There are some men's health centers in the U.S., although several focus solely on mental health. Why? Why do these centers focus on men's mental health? They don't focus on our mental health. They literally just try and make abortion accessible and stuff and make sure that men aren't giving us these diseases because they lie and they stealth, right? And remove whatever. Why do you think they're so focused on men? Do you think it's because men are too focused on their sexual health? Maybe that's also the problem. I'm telling you, like, you're missing the point. They care more about getting a hard-on so they can keep pump and dump while having no real connection with other people, rather than, I don't know, go to therapy if they can afford it, try to eat well, try to get a little, like, try to take care of themselves in whatever way they can. Now, that's God, I didn't realize that. This made me so mad. He says they aim to make things convenient for men who generally don't want to spend a lot of time at the doctor. Yeah, as if women love spending time at the doctor. God, y'all are so insulted. What the world needs to be more convenient for men because they don't like to spend time at the doctor. God, y'all, would y'all stop infantilizing these men? They're grown as adults. That's the problem. We got to teach men to grow up and be adults, not just king babies in adult human bodies who write checks and pay bills and have the force to punch someone like me. And me, the entitlement of a king, the brutality of a king, and the mindset, not even of a baby. I swear to God, a baby, it's trying harder. Have you seen them try to crawl? They are determined. I should rethink king baby. She's like, it's even a baby. Even a baby cares about themselves more than men. Teaching themselves to walk and all this stuff. You've got to remove the obstacles for men's care. Men are the obstacle. There you go. That's it. Men are their own obstacle. Teach your boys and teach your sons how to take care of themselves, and we will not have this problem. And women who marry men or deal with men or have fathers or whatever, withhold your labor and make them do it themselves. Obviously, that's a nuanced conversation. Oh, I was pissed about what? Men traditionally haven't gone to the doctor as often as women. Yeah, we know. They call us a nag when we make them go. Society pressure means they're weak. Oh, their weakness. Again, that's a patriarchal conditioning problem. That is not our problem unless you are parenting a boy. Although society is still going to give them that message. You're going to have to really overcorrect. And he's like, well, younger men are kind of going, he says, more men will go into checkups and blah, blah, blah. But he says, for many guys, under economic stress, health is not a priority. Yeah. People under economic stress. Like, can we just say capitalism is the problem? They don't have time to take care of themselves. I'm calling bullshit. That is a lie. Women work way more than men across the board. Even women with lots of money are still doing all this stuff behind the scenes, all this emotional labor. Women make time. But they don't have time. Have you seen how much time they spend on their phone, playing games, doing hobbies, gambling, drinking, out the porn, and you want to tell me they don't have time? Shut up, Derek. This is such an insulting article. I didn't realize how insulting it was when I just skimmed through it when I read it the first time. Oh my God. They don't have time. They have more time than, oh my God. If anything, men have too much time compared to women. They have the luxury of time compared to women. The more marginalized, the less time women have. They don't have, but okay, sure. They're not going to adjust their weight. They're struggling to pay bills. And then this paragraph came up. Reckoning with Superman. Here we go. For a lot of men, thinking about their health, especially something is wrong, is uncomfortable. Oh, poor baby. It's uncomfortable. Get uncomfortable. They'll go out and torture themselves. Climbing and doing all kinds of stuff. They will run marathons. So don't tell me they're not they're not okay with being uncomfortable. But they'll be very uncomfortable at their ego. But when it comes to caring for themselves, truly loving themselves, not being about ego, but true self-care and showing up for people in their lives, that's when they're like, ah. So this man who was 70 was like, well, I was a kid, I devoured Superman book. And we learned the Man of Steel, blah, blah. I don't care. I don't care about your excuses. You literally talk to men, but stop telling the nation and women that we should care about. We know this. God, men think we don't know that. You don't think we know this? We know y'all better, unfortunately, than you know yourselves. We don't want to, but y'all won't figure yourselves out, so we have to figure you out. And then you don't listen, and then you hate us for knowing you better than you know yourself. Removal of the sense of masculinity because he had his prostate, whatever. Like, again, that sounds like a patriarchal indoctrination problem. That doesn't sound like a woman's problem or the nation's problem. That sounds like a y'all problem. Y'all need to get on board with feminism. It is literally taking your life. Y'all are dying from refusing to care about us because you cannot love, you hate us, but it's because you hate yourself. Get on board with this. There were some really funny tweets or threads or whatever. Literally everything is centered around men. It's time for men to focus on their mental and emotional health. It's time for men to focus on not being violent, raging assholes who hold the world hostage with their general ineptitude. It's time for men to focus on not being lecherous creeps who prey on women, children, and everyone else. Yes, that's the problem. Maybe if they focused on these things, they wouldn't die so young. Some doctors came into the chat and are like, I'm a doctor. We don't care about women's health. Oh, shut up. Someone else is like, maybe literally all studies prior to 1993 where when women were banned from inclusion in medical research. Yeah, tell me we need to focus on men's health care. And then someone brought up, I don't know if y'all have seen this man's talk. Oh, it's so good. And he's talking about elephants and why elephants live, like the female elephants live so long. They have menopause. And it's so good. It's so good. And this person reminded, despite medicine being built by men, for men, while women suffer more autoimmune and chronic illness, women live longer because they are the knowledge keepers of care and they remain socially relevant longer. And that's the thing. Men die young because they don't, like, they're not socially relevant and they don't know how to take care of themselves. And they are like, y'all aren't needed. Unless you like literally become really involved in your grandkids' lives or whatever at a certain age when you like finally wise up. You're like women, and like I wrote in my article about men have no friends, women, I literally interview women who are like, yeah, my friends are waiting for their husbands to die so they can have a life and have fun. These men are nothing but a burden. So men, if you don't want to be a burden, take care of yourself. And then you also won't die as early. Men die earlier because they are stubborn as fuck and don't go to the doctor unless they're dying. None of them listen to us women about the disease prevention, and most don't wash their hands after they take a piss. There, I completed the study. No need to spend any more time or money on this. Yeah, exactly. Like, literally, if men would just listen to women, y'all don't need to spend any more money on all this stuff. Just listen to us. I learned half of what I know about menopause through a single post on Threads. But sure, let's pay even less attention to women's health. Oh, and Black women have a 200% higher mortality rate than any other group of women when adjusted for economic level and support systems in place. Right about that, men are fine. Speaking of which, I remember seeing this. Do y'all remember seeing this? This woman in menopause and literally steam coming off her head. And somebody was like, are y'all kidding? Women are not weak. We go through all of this without any knowledge of it. None. I literally had no idea why I was raging all the time, why I was crying all the time, why I had all these problems until someone was like, oh yeah, you need to take progesterone and deal with your perimenopause stuff. And I was like, oh, this is a big secret. Because no doctors told me about it. I had to literally write this all down and take it to a doctor and be like, this is what's happening. And they're like, okay, I guess I'll give you progesterone. Now I want to get back to Laura's post. I bet they live longer if they were more encouraged to practice life skills like cooking nutritious meals or keeping a space clean, or if they're taught to monitor needs, including their health, or taught the value of invisible work like booking appointments. If they saw themselves in the essential labor that keeps us alive and thriving, maybe they live and thrive a bit more. Right? But they are not taught that, and that's not their fault if they are not taught that from their parents. But they have to teach themselves that. I don't know how to take care. You know what? I actually was not taught how to cook. Okay? Like, there's a lot of things that I've literally had to teach myself how to do. No one taught me this. We're not naturally better at this crap. In fact, Anthony taught himself how to cook because he realized real quick with me, he's not getting fed. I'm not cooking. I love that for me. I'll figure it out if I have to cook for myself, but I don't want to. And I have in the past cooked some stuff, but I don't want to cook. I don't care. So he taught himself how to cook, and he's a good cook now. You see how that works? If you don't know, you learn how to do it instead of just expecting a woman to do it. By the time they're 15, boys are doing significantly less domestic labor and caregiving work than girls of the same age. Boys are often overlooked when it comes to teaching the depth and breadth of domestic engineering and kin-keeping required to build and maintain our lives. Care work is for everyone. And Laura talks about this a lot. Go follow her if you're not. We all deserve opportunities to learn how to pay attention, to notice, and to invest in the home mentally, emotionally, and physically. We'd all be better off if we centered care in our lives for ourselves, for others, for all of us as a collective. And that there is the problem. I actually wrote about this for Glamour magazine several years ago, but I was talking about how women have been conditioned to be super codependent, for lack of a better word, just obsessed on the care of everyone else to the detriment of ourselves. And men have taught to be individualistic and just care and more about their ego, not even taking care of themselves, but more about me, and really selfish. Right? Go, me, but not in terms of literally taking care of themselves, right? So women need to be more selfish and men need to be less selfish, and we gotta meet each other in the middle because of our social conditioning. Most women, it's very rare that you're gonna find a woman who's too selfish, unless her selfishness is literally around, we can be very selfish in terms of relationships and but I'm not saying we can be unbelievably selfish, but not in terms of centering our true needs, our true self-care. Really, truly, I rarely find, women I have been working for 2 decades now to learn how to take care of myself, and not in terms of take care, I mean to not self-abandon. Okay? I will self-abandon, swoop in and let, take care of a man's ego or his whatever. I used to. Now it's not my default so much, but it's still in there. It can pop up at any moment and go, boo, remember me? And then I also want to remind you all of things I've been talking about for years now, about men get more sleep than us, okay? We already lose sleep because of men's coercive control, and also not caring that they have sleep apnea, even though we wake up. I've done so many videos on sleep and sleep abuse and how women are not getting sleep because of the men intentionally doing this, or just not caring that they keep you up all night snoring. And that women need to learn how to center their sleep. If they have a place to sleep, go center your sleep. Because men sleep better next to a partner. Women sleep worse. But so many women don't want to get a sleep divorce. It's becoming more common now. But it's still takes a lot for a woman to say, I don't want to sleep in the same bed with you anymore because you will not deal with this sleep apnea or whatever it is. Their moods affect us. Although I talk about this, their stupid moods can literally take years off of our life. Why? Because they will not emotionally regulate. They can. They do it at work. They do it in public all the time. But when they come home, all of a sudden, they're just angry and can't control it. We know that women are happier without children or a spouse. They make more money. They live longer, right? Like in every way, women do better when they're not tied up with men. And yet, you want us to care about men's health even though we die caring about their health. We care too much. That's the problem. And until we stop caring, they will never be in a position where they have to care. And they're also, wow, and meanwhile, we're married to them and we're just as likely to get an STI from them. Which is why women are doing mommunes now. We're like, what is the point of this? And again, the wife is not better at bath time. She's better at it because she did it 300 more times than you. And like I said, we are already expected to take care of all these people, especially if you're an older daughter. The least that men could do was take care of themselves. Because we know you're probably not going to take care of your parents, you know? No, okay, obviously. Y'all, even if stars, I did video on this like a year ago. Even if this woman has so much money and an ex-wife who's also there taking care of him and his children who are girls, all like this man has more care than anybody. And even she's really struggling to take care of him. Have you ever seen a bunch of men rally around a woman and do that? Never. But this is what we're expected to do. And they leave and get remarried. Well, I did this video I don't know, a year ago or so. This woman got dragged. Because if women do leave their husbands, they will pay such a huge social price for not taking care of them. But I really love this energy. This is like a clickbait headline, killed my vibe or whatever. But when you actually read the article, this man sounded awful. Self-preservation, baby. Don't take care of these men unless you know they would take care of you because they have taken care of you. Stop taking care of men. Stop taking care of men, right? And that you don't have to take care of, especially if you are losing years off of your life doing it. So many women would rather die trying to take care of a man or get a man to take care of himself than leave him. And I know not all women can leave. And then that's a very nuanced conversation. But I'm just telling you, as someone who lost both my grandmas way before my grandpa's, I do not want to be one of those statistics. And you know what? This is such a big problem. Still, there's a whole book. I think it's called Invisible Women. There's articles about this. There's books about this. We know that women are the ones who are really struggling with the healthcare industry and being taken seriously and not enough research and resources and all that stuff. We're more likely to be misdiagnosed than men and take longer to be diagnosed. We're often less likely to be offered pain medication. I mean, hello, IUD. What the hell? That was so unnecessarily painful. And then it fell out, by the way. I didn't know that could happen. I was not on birth control for 2 years. Luckily, I was using condoms, thank God. But be careful. That goes back to nobody told me it could fall out. Nobody informed me. Nobody. I learned later on that sometimes the diva cups can really create a suction, but yeah. And then I went to the doctor because I was like, my periods are weird all of a sudden. The body is not a machine. This French doctor totally gaslit me. So yeah, 2 years I thought I had an IUD and I didn't. So tell me, we need to focus more on men. We're the ones who are told it's all in our head. And not too long ago, women who were just acting a little independent were put in insane asylum. Anxious, hysterical, female. You know what makes us so anxious? Y'all not taking care of yourselves. Do you know how much we worry so much because men don't worry enough? We would not be such worrywarts if we hadn't have to worry so much about dying at the hands of y'all, about you not taking yourself and its impact on us and what it's going to impact the kid. Everything men do stresses us the fork out. And then y'all dare to gaslight. Y'all just anxious. God. It's historically us being anxious and hysterical, and it's all in our head, has been the default diagnosis for women. And that was in the case of white women with means. In the book, the Dr. Komen says, if you were a woman of color or you were poor, you were viewed by medical authorities as even less of an authority of your own body and thus less worthy of compare and compassion. And for black women, especially in the United States, but not just there, but it's really bad there. When we go to a clinical setting, we have to think about racial and gender discrimination. And now it's even worse because of this dude. If anyone watched his confirmation hearing, this man literally repeated one of the biggest racist tropes ever about vaccines. For so long, thicker skin and all this ridiculous stuff to justify chattel slavery. And it still exists. This guy. I'm sorry, this guy. So we have this man who is super racist, super sexist, is anti-vax, even though he vaxes his own kids. Even his own cousin was like, who never talks out, was like, I forget, what is that? Her uncle or her whatever. Caroline Kennedy never makes big statements. And she wrote, this man was putting baby birds in a blender for fun. Like, this man's a predator. His own family calls him a predator. This terrifying man. And in this day and age, that man had the audacity to write, we need to focus on men's health. Oh, they're being so ignored. They're helpless. Fuck off. I'm so tired. This is probably, there's going to be more of this. First is the male loneliness crisis, which is a consequence. Men suffering from the consequences of their own actions and literally making themselves not dateable, not worthy of relationships. That is a male consequence crisis, a male entitlement crisis, a male refusal to grow the fork up crisis. So I don't care about that one anymore. Like, I care because I actually, believe it or not, love men. I love men more than they love themselves. But I hate patriarchy, and I hate men who will not deal with patriarchy and unlearn it. And now they want us to care about their health crisis, which again is a male entitlement crisis. Entitlement to the labor of women taking care of them because they will not take care of themselves. Y'all die when you don't care about this stuff. But we die too, even more than you. Anyway, let me know what y'all think. Please join my Patreon, even if you can't afford a tier. That's how you stay connected to me and you get notifications when I put stuff out there. I've got a watch party on Sunday for Fresh Kills, a very casual book club. I got travel content, personal stories. I do all kinds of stuff over there. Please support me if you can. And let me know if you heard that comment song. Hello, this is the comment song and a preview of what I do on Patreon. Like show my life in France and other places. For instance, this was on last weekend. That video is coming soon, Patreon people, I promise. Anyway, lots of cool stuff, it's so beautiful out there. And also tell personal stuff over there in lives, like the one I mentioned with the lawyer. And of course, Rose. And do y'all know G? She's amazing. And I also went to a French monster truck rally and also a French wrestling match. And also, I'm gonna share this soon of Anthony Drag and then also taking him to a United States and Dukes of Hazzard Museum in Nashville. He was so confused by all the dead animals and Bibles and the dentist office. Also, I could show y'all Babyland, where they literally have live births of Cabbage Patch Kids, or talk about Peru, or how about Jesus Land, or my Craigslist photos, like where they pretended to kill me. Anyway, Jesus Land, or Jerry Springer. What do y'all want? Well, you know what? Tell me on Patreon. Did you hear the comment song?